This is the Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast with Nick Cattles.
I just think that Mike is absolutely perfect. I mean, look, does he have the highest ceiling perhaps as some other people like a Ben Johnson? I mean, we don't really know, but we know the floor. I mean, the Patriots are always going to be competitive, and we've never really seen Mike Vrabel coach with a quarterback as talented as Drake May. And if they can, fill in the talent, in the next couple of years, Vrabel should have the most talented team he's ever coached. And I think the ceiling is going to be pretty high down the road.
Well, so that's the thing. So let's get into the other side. We'll spend a little time on the interview process, which appeared to be, a bit of a sham in the sense that the Crafts clearly had eyed Vrabel as their guy, but that's not the most important thing at the moment. It's really more, what other choice did they have? And the only other serious interview they did was with Ben Johnson, who is choice du jour now for the last couple of years throughout the NFL. He's been extremely selective by, who he wanted to talk to, which interviews he would take. Decided last year, I'm happy in Detroit. I don't even want to explore some of the vacancies here. And he's the only other legitimate candidate. There's a school of thought, and I'm kind of in that school, that the offense, you've one thing going for you right now, and that's Drake May. And the most important thing is trying to figure out how far you can take this. And that offensive-minded coach was really appealing. Are there question marks with a first-year coach? Yeah, obviously. And somebody you have no idea whether he can lead a room. It's totally different to be able to sit in the back and call plays and do all of those things versus run the organization, which Vrabel's kind of going to be asked to do here. But now the offense is going to be in the hands of whomever Vrabel brings in as an offensive coordinator. And as we know, those guys leave sometimes. If you get a really good one, he might not be here for a long time. And you're always kind of stuck in that cycle. So is there any merit to the detractors, the Vrabel detractors who say, man, they should have taken a shot at ceiling, like go for broke here, go big or go home, and bring in a guy like Johnson?
Yeah, I understand that, and I respect that school of thought from people, and I get it. But where the Patriots have been the past couple of years, I just didn't think it was wise. It's too much risk. They risked enough last year on Gerard Mayo. Obviously, that was a mistake. Some people will say he should have been given more time. Maybe it wasn't a mistake, and they might be right. I don't know. But I just think, with a guy like Ben Johnson, your hope is that he's Sean McVay and somebody who was ready for it. He hired a veteran defensive coordinator, to bring in him with Wade Phillips, which was really smart on his behalf. And I do think Ben Johnson, there are a lot of good traits. Like, we know he can lead a room because I think if anybody watches the Detroit Lions, not only are they innovative and really good and really talented, but they're fairly disciplined. They do a bunch of different things, and that you can't do that unless you have the coaching on the field and in the classroom. And so I think there's a lot of positive traits for Ben Johnson. But, there's a lot of other offensive gurus that you would have said the same thing about. For example, Adam Gase, who, sort of had the stamp of approval from people like Peyton Manning and everything else. And, while he had a little bit of success with Ryan Tannehill and the Dolphins down there, you're risking a lot and not knowing. It's one thing to manage the offensive side of the ball. And we've even seen this with, you could say, like Josh McDaniels. We know he's a good offensive coordinator. That doesn't mean he's going to be a good head coach. And some guys have done it. Some guys haven't. And I just think that where this franchise is, where it's been, where they hope it's going, I thought it was way too much risk with a guy like, if Vrabel wasn't out there, fine, Ben Johnson. But Mike Vrabel is a guy that is going to be a solid double at the very least. But, I mean, I just think the guy's a phenomenal coach, phenomenal game coach, relates well to the players. He's much different than Bill Belichick. And I just think this program, they needed stability. They needed leadership. and a known commodity, and that's Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. I've brought this up before. I don't know if you agree, but a part of the Robert Kraft statement when Gerard Mayo was fired said something. I actually have it right here. When he joined our coaching staff, leadership was more evident. I saw how players responded to him. When other teams started requesting to interview him, I feared I would lose him and committed to making him our next head coach. Kind of like I had to keep Gerard because the pressure was on me, but also I had no choice but to hire him because I wrote it into his contract. When Bill Belichick was fired a year or moved on a year earlier than expected or as part of the succession plan, I don't think the Patriots knew Mike Vrabel was going to be available to potentially be a head coach. And at that point, there really was no way out of the situation they were in. Them Gerard Mayo had it kind of inked that he was going to be the guy. Do you think if that weren't the case, and again, you said Vrabel not expected to be fired by Tennessee. There was no reason for him to be let go. He was doing a good job there, just had a problem with ownership. If that hadn't been written into Mayo's contract and things just transpired naturally, you think Vrabel would have been the guy last year?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there were people in the building.
And did Kraft have a little bit of like buyer's remorse? Did he know it going in too, do you think? Like, I got to go with Gerard, so cross my fingers. I hope I'm right. But damn it, if I knew that this was the case, this was an easy pivot to Vrabel.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think they would have. I think they would have gone with Vrabel. I think there was sentiment in the building to, what are we doing? I mean, we didn't expect this option. Shouldn't we look at it? There might have even been some of that suggested within the ownership group in the form of Jonathan Kraft being like, "Dad, are we sure we want to do this?" I mean, we never thought that Vrabel would be available. Now look at him. But I think Robert, he had that gut instinct, and I think he wanted to be a man of his word. One thing, John, I wanted to mention that's interesting, sort of not related to that, but related to Vrabel and sort of the timeline. There's a rumor in NFL circles, and again, this is just a rumor. There's a rumor in NFL circles that Vrabel didn't take the Jets interview to pressure the Crafts. He did it to go and get background research on the Jets, having an idea that he might be the next Patriots head coach. I just think that's interesting.
Yeah, and there's also the report today with the he denied reportedly denied a Raiders interview request, basically saying like, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to New England here. So there really wasn't, there wasn't much guesswork involved here. All signs kind of pointed towards it.
Well, I mean, look, even using Robert's own words from his press conference when he says when he makes a decision, he whatever he says, he measures 9 times and cuts once or whatever, and there's the school of thought, and I probably believe it, that they weren't moving on from Gerard Mayo unless they knew or had an idea that they had something else, and just using his own words, that seems to be the case.
Yeah. And again, you wonder how long ago that happened. A lot of people, because again, the reporting with this, just the way it went down, was the Crafts don't want to move on from Mayo. They want to see him succeed. But they never came out and publicly declared it. So you have to figure they knew they had this in their back pocket, and back channeled, some sort of communication with Vrabel to like, you're good, right? Yeah. I'm good. Let's do this. And that was that, which kind of led to the interview process being what it was. Probably an embarrassment that they could have avoided if they just played it a little bit differently versus two throwaway interviews at the beginning of it, and then really only the other 2 guys, that were under consideration. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. It's NFL playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot up to win 1,000 times your cash. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. This episode is also powered by Game Time, the best place to get tickets to the games, events, and concerts you want to see. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Game Time is filled with terrific features like all-in pricing, so you know exactly how much you're paying. No surprise fees at checkout. You also get panoramic views from your seats in the app, so you know exactly what you'll be looking at before you buy. Plus, a lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Once again, download that Game Time app, create an account, use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. What time is it? It's game time. Last thing I want to hit you on here, something people don't love, the process of getting here. Vrabel might have been the right choice no matter what, even if you went through the process, but the Patriots did not. They interviewed 4 head coaching candidates, 2 of whom were not realistic. Many people assume to satisfy the Rooney Rule, did it in a sloppy, manner. And then really only one interview with Ben Johnson over Zoom, 3 hours, with really no way to get a true sense of what type of coach he might be without the ability to follow up. They're the first to fire and the first to hire. Does the process bother you at all? Could more have been gained from doing it the right way, the way most other teams do it, whether it's a search firm or whether it's a personnel guy first, or just simply let's cast a wide net and listen to outside perspectives? Or again, I know it in my gut, this is my guy. I could never be wrong about something like that, even though I did the same exact thing last year and hired somebody who was really the only person I ever considered for the position.
No, I don't give a crap about the process. I really don't. I understand the Rooney Rule. I understand why it's there. But look, if I'm an owner and this is my $1 billion business, I don't really give a crap, especially when there's a guy that I know who's a really good coach and we know him and we know what he's all about. Like, in some respects, you have to respect them because they didn't really waste anybody's time. And 3 hours for Ben Johnson, but whatever. And here's the other thing about the Patriots and listening to other people, and yeah, they should have done that a year ago if they're really making a departure after Bill, whatever. In business, and we all know the crafts are from business, there's 2 ways to acquire knowledge. One is to go out and talk to everybody and get everybody, bring in teachers who are going to teach everybody that, or you go out and you buy it and you bring it in and they teach. So, Mike Vrabel's from the outside. Elliott Wolf's from the outside. 2 different organizations. Alonzo Highsmith has been on the outside, 2 different organizations, and the University of Miami. Pat Stewart has been with the Eagles and the Panthers. So these guys, and I will say those guys in the front office have been moving to make the Patriots into a more modern operation. And now you got Vrabel, who's in Cleveland, who saw it done different ways in Tennessee. All that stuff's coming in. So they're, have they talked to, Kyle Shanahan disciples and stuff like that? No. But I think I don't have a problem with the process. It is what it is. They arrived where they wanted to arrive. I think it's the right thing for this organization. And now we'll see what happens.